we have a quick panel discussion. Organizational agility is not just IT. So again, going in with the current trend, and also, I mean, where most of the frameworks are talking about and the business agility thought process, right? So with that, we have Vikas Uppal and Pranjal with me. So they're going to introduce themselves and then we'll kick it off from there.
Pranjal, you start, my friend.
I hear some background noise. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll mute everyone else. Yeah. Okay, done.
Thank you. So I think I will set the context maybe.
Yeah.
And, we have started appreciating, or, some of us might think that why is there a rush towards business agility, right? Why is this SAFe suddenly is talking about business agility? And what is business agility after all, right? So I wouldn't want to go into the details of what is business agility after all, which I would assume that all of us who are participating today would have some shared understanding of what business agility is. It's about delivering business solutions at the end of the day, right? It's not about just delivering technical solutions. We heard throughout the day, when I was setting the context in the morning, I was referring to some of the ways in which the enterprises have adopted business level agility and how are they able to drive business-led transformations. So, and throughout the day, we heard different components of it, right? We talked about some of the coding practices, some of the DevOps practices, some of the business practices, some of the leadership practices. Excuse me, but I think all of it comes together now across as the 7 core competencies as we see on the framework. And we at Scaled Agile started using SAFe. We drink our own champagne. We started using SAFe to run our organization. Even when we had around 18 odd people, and this was like almost like 4 or 5 years ago. And that's where we started from. Like, we do recommend that, the minimum construct would be an art, and art should be minimum of 45 to 50 people. And that's where you start, and so on and so forth. But we wanted to see how this fits to us, right? And we started doing that. And we are not an IT company, right? As you all understand, we are a knowledge company or a consulting company. So we had a learning and certification team and a sales team and a small IT department who's supporting the learning and certification value stream. And then other small functions as well, like marketing and legal and HR and what have you. And we started using SAFe, and nobody told us that you can't use SAFe for all the other functions. You have to use it only for IT. But we saw that not only us, and many of our customers have already started appreciating enterprise agility at that point of time. And that's how it all started within our organization. And though business agility was not called out specifically, the framework has evolved, and it takes a lot of feedback from the customer. We do a lot of Gemba walks with the customer, we take a lot of feedback in. And when the word started mentioning, did the digital transformation not happen like 10 years ago or 20 years ago? Of course they did happen, right? But we used to call them something else. Now, it's now more popularly known as digital transformation. Business agility used to happen previously as well. It's just that we used to call that something else. Ashwini and I were at NASSCOM Leadership Forum earlier this year in February in Mumbai. And I was attending some of these talks done by the creme de creme, the top leadership of the country, on the main stage, and I was looking for the word business agility. And I could not find that, but I found all the components of business agility that were being talked about. Devjani Ghosh talked about people-led innovation. Chairman of Tata Sons talked about innovation and how, cross-functional teams come together and so on and so forth. So business agility has existed long since, and we have organized ourselves around value. And we have, appreciated, and when I say we, multiple enterprises around the world have appreciated how business agility has evolved. It's just that it's now more prominent in the framework, where we are thinking, and we want us to think more in a more focused way now on business solutions and not just on the technical solutions. Take a systems view and not just The analogy that I gave in the morning, that a caterpillar transforming to butterfly, and you can't have a caterpillar transform just its head or just its body or just legs. That will be a terrible thing, right? So the entire caterpillar transforms to a beautiful butterfly, and then caterpillar just doesn't become a faster caterpillar. It evolves to a much more beautiful thing that can fly faster. So I think with that context, I'd like to kick it off and understand from your experience, and maybe I can come to you, Vikas, because you threw me under the bus, I guess.
No. So I threw you into the bus because it was an introduction point, right?
Okay.
That's okay. I didn't even.
All right.
So
Yeah.
I'll more talking about the practical aspects actually.
Yeah.
Now, still, what's happening, guys? What do you see, right? We need an agility, and when we need an agility, right, the organizations try to do and contract with an agile consultant, right, with a technical team, right? Hey, why don't you basically, make this team transform? Okay, we are making this team transform, but for what? So that they do their work very well. Oh, very good. But what is that work? Oh, that work is something which business do, but we don't want to talk to them. They are doing their own transformation. This is from where this construct came, called business agility. The reason is that I have seen in what is my background? I'm a consultant, old McKinseyite, 23 years old, experience in agility, right? Yeah. I have seen multiple organizations where what is happening, same organization is having two different contracts and two different frameworks basically for transformation actually. And if that happens, that means it will never connect with each other. And that's one of the reasons it's a great thing where org agility and business agility was started, talking about from SAFe, which means if you really wanted to do an agility, you start with a value stream and you also talk about operational value stream. I don't think so. In earlier frameworks, this is the practical approach. People have done that, right? So that is something which is really beautiful, and that is something which is where most of organization has to start thinking. It's still not happening. It looks very good, it looks very rosy, but it still does not happen. And that's one of the reasons this whole talk on organization agility is not only technical agility is very important. See, we are talking about strategy, we are talking about market, we are talking about solutions and product. Finally, agility is done for solutions and product. And solutions and product is not something which could be delivered only by technical team. Finally, someone is doing an innovation. Someone is basically looking for market. Someone is basically looking in terms of whether our own organization has internal, aspects to do that. That's what. They might not be development people. They might be sales people. They might be people from operations. They might be people from market research, right? Now, they are talking and thinking that side, and then tech people are thinking and doing that side. You cannot get agility, right? And that's one of the reasons this is very essential, where it's very, very clearly written on the org agility side, strategy agility, which means COVID has happened. COVID has happened. It doesn't mean basically that we are not going to change. From last 4 months, most of my small consulting assignments are where I am trying to basically, redraw the strategy with them. That's a strategy frame. That's what is happening actually, which means all these things need an agility, and all these aspects, right, are something which will tie IT, which is one important aspect, because SAFe talks a lot about development value stream, but without others, it does not give a value to an organization. That's what I really wanted to say. Two things, Pranjal, right? I'll add something on that. SAFe has a beautiful thing, which is not something a lot of people do. That's called LPM, Lean Portfolio Management, and APM, right? Both of this. Actually, most of the thing is coming from there. See, your org, strategy, your KPI is moving down, right? And then your tech team is doing it, right? So which means if one group is doing something, another group is either not doing something or doing something else, will never get you agility. This is a very simple thing. Practically, I thought I should tell them. Yeah.
I also have something to add. When you were talking about a small consulting, and I mean, everybody has to be part of it, right? Most of my consulting assignments, procurement takes more time than the actual consulting.
Right.
So I think many of the speakers have been talking from the morning. I mean, I see a pattern there. Somebody is talking about HR. If you don't involve HR, how do you even, I mean, forget about SAFe or anything. How do you even talk about the Scrum Master's role and responsibility? How do you make sure that they are engaged? It starts from there. And IT team is not even coming into the picture there, right? And as I said, many a times it's also about the procurement, HR, finance. Not, again, we can blame them for not following. At the same time, are we teaching them to understand what is it as well, right? So that's where the missing link that we need to provide as consultants.
So I'll add to that, right? Same thing, right, on an HR. And as you go down HR, see, procurement is one thing. Someone is trying to identify who is a Scrum Master, and he doesn't know what is the role, responsibility, and expectation and persona of that Scrum Master. Same with PO. HR need to know about that from that aspect. Someone is trying to basically, guide the performance measures which will be done for a Scrum Master and a product owner, but they are actually thinking about a project manager and a delivery manager. Actually, these are two different things, which means HR need to understand that. Someone is trying to plan a training for organizations, not training, trainings, okay? But they don't know what is agile and they don't know what they are doing actually, right? Which is L&D. So see, this is something which this ties up very well, right? And couple of my clients where I had started my consulting last 2 years and still it's happening. It started with IT. I still wanted to say, it started with IT. But when it started with IT, most of us as in transformation coaches or consultants, our responsibility is we tie it with there and say, okay, we started it, but we won't be able to do anything unless until we touch those aspects actually, right? So this is just, and I throw to Pranjal, my friend.
So I think you make a very valid point, right? I mean, with all respect to learning and development teams, right? They do play a very pivotal role in helping upskill and reskill, and more so over when we're talking about in this era, the country's leadership is talking about it. Earlier today morning, we heard Chris James mention that snippet from the NASSCOM Future Skills program as well. So there's a huge focus going on in the country and maybe around the world as well about the reskilling and upskilling. But is SAFe just a certification? I think that's a question that I would want to ask all of us, that, what do you think of what SAFe is? Is it just another agile certification, or is it a way that helps you transform the company? Do we even appreciate and understand how does it help the caterpillar transform as a butterfly, or are we just thinking of, training the caterpillar to make it a faster caterpillar?
Okay. May I?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I mean, I think this is a great platform to say one thing, right? And I know there are a lot of SPCTs and all, right? And that's what. Yeah. SAFe is not a certification thing to do. The kind of content SAFe has, and the kind of basically, right, people who work for SAFe, and then they keep updating that content. How many times as in transformation coaches, you go to the content and really see what is updated actually? It updates that's something which SAFe did. Yeah. Second thing, you are doing transformation. When you are doing transformation on the same platform, you are having an assessments, you are having basically how to, turn your assessment to a overall program. There is a structure given in terms of this. It's a structure. It's a structure. There is structure given how to do a transformation. It touches each and everything. There are trainings associated with that. There are certain certifications, associated with that. At that moment, again, when you are doing, it's not required only to do leading SAFe. There are very respective good trainings about POPM. And I mean, my experience, Pranjal said that, my POPM people, any POPM person, when they do that, the outcome is very good. Why? They are business people. They're not IT people actually, right? But they start touching that very well. But Pranjal, unfortunate a lot is what leading SAFe, which means, just show the framework of it, right? But there are a lot of deeper things associated with SAFe. POPM is there, APM is there, LPM is there. I'm going to talk much about that. SAFe for architect is an amazing thing. That's an amazing thing in terms of how an enterprise architect and a system architect, they are different and they are basically doing that. So SAFe generally is more than a certification. It's something which has all the thing tie up on the SAFe thing. Actually, this is what my opinion. And when I did my SPC Pranjal, my major reason was to basically get the content part actually, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, this ties back to what I talked to Pranjal in the NASSCOM event. We were talking about if you don't deliver the business value end of the day, the framework, doesn't kick off, right? So it's just a name. Otherwise, end of the day, it's just a name. Only when the framework can deliver a value, that's when you are looking for the value. Framework is a mean. It is not an end goal, right? So it never should be an end goal. It's just a mean to achieve that. I think because we also had some discussions around, okay, this is happening, training. Okay, training comes and goes. It's okay. In between, I need to teach someone something. Yes, that is definitely required. But that 2 days, are they going to teach them all the skills necessary to survive? Not really, right? And again, I ended my talk also in a same way, saying that I've already given 4 authors, 4 books, and some more material on Scaled Agile website. You should be reading about that in the next few months. So that's what it is. For me, a training is knowing from a knowledgeable person who has been in that situation, what is their thoughts, what is their viewpoint. Otherwise, guidance articles provide me enough more than what a SAFe course teaches. And I don't need that, but at the same time, I need that to start my journey.
So Ashwin, sorry, go ahead, Vikas.
No, I'm just basically, touching, and then I'll pass it on to you.
Yeah.
How many of you really go and, go to SAFe Advance, all the things, the new topics which come?
Advance.
That really gives so much of deeper aspects associated with those, right? That is something which is great for organization, right? In one of my transformation, consulting, a company, right, where I am, one of the aspect is to the SPCs, you identify that, and all the leaders, why don't you share those advanced topics with them actually, right? Why? And very recently it has happened on the product roadmap, right? There is a topic, and that's what we share. So what Pranjal I am trying to tell you is certification, content, material, overall tying everything. That's something which is beauty. What SAFe has done for overall org agility. For a long period of time, I was in leftist towards that. Very honest, right? And my friend Luke basically, right, put me here. No, this is perfectly fine. And then I understood, yes, yeah, this is something really getting some value also to organization. Actually, it's giving a structure to large and complex organizations, which is the first thing to start with. Pranjal, I throw it to you.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think I kind of saw that question coming in as well about the roadmap to business agility. So question to both of you. If we admit and we understand that certification should ideally be the byproduct of a transformation journey, why is there so much of a focus on just leading with certifications? Why don't we see or hear so much about the transformations in this region?
Okay. Ashwini, would you like to say? I will say that I have not taken a single public class. And I am doing the most transformation here. So this is not the case. The only problem is that maybe we are not very vocal and open about what is happening actually, right?
Exactly.
That's the only thing. And, if I would have had more chance, I would have basically, spoken about a couple of case studies, which is happening in this region, right? So see, Pranjal, it's happening. It's happening. It's not that it's not happening actually. But if what we see on LinkedIn or what we see on the social media is more of certifications and training and all those kind of a thing, it's happening. The only problem what happened, right, in India, this is what I feel, most of transformations initiates from the center of command. Sorry, even in Agile, I had to say center of command. And I think, this is a global, meet, but I say still with most of organizations where SAFe is, the center of command lies in the Western countries, right? Either in US or Europe. And that's from where it starts. I'm working with an org, which is basically center of command in India, right? And they are doing it, and they are doing it very well at this moment. Yeah. I just wanted to say, last week, one of a SAFe fellows spoke there. It's an Indian. I won't say more than that actually, because that would be confidential actually. Right? Yeah. So it's happening. Yes.
And in fact, I concur with most of the parts that you have kind of put it out, right? Even in a smaller Indian companies, or smaller this one, it is happening, but it is not coming out. And also, many a times I see in my classes also people who are already working in a kind of a situation, they are coming to gain more knowledge around those areas. Definitely, that is happening, and some things are not coming. Maybe we are also not being very vocal about, our leaderships here have been not being very vocal about, okay, this is what we are doing. When Ram was talking in the morning, TCS, he said that we are also part of the Travelport journey, and that's there in in the website now. Otherwise, I didn't know TCS is part of that, right? So are they vocal about that? And for definite reasons of confidentiality and stuff, not really, but at least are they vocal about, okay, we are doing transformations for multiple organizations in X, Y, Z, or whatever way. I don't hear much about that one. That also could be, one stoppage.
Yeah. So by asking that question, I in no way intend to or position myself as against the certification, because it's a learning, right? Yeah. And the learning has to start. But the position that I'm kind of questioning and challenging is that I see that there are multiple players out there in the market who look at the implementation roadmap and they see, oh, first training is leading safe, and then second is this, and third. So they misinterpret the implementation roadmap, and then they would say, oh, let me do all the leading safe classes, or let me come to your company and I'll do all the leading safe classes. Is that the right approach, right? Probably not, right? Leading safe, or any certification for that matter, you get people in the class. The idea is to invigorate the interest, ensure that everybody's aligned to those principles, and there your learning starts from there, right? That's where you ensure that people are aligned to the common objectives of transforming the enterprise using the lean agile principles which SAFe provides. And that's where you start following the implementation roadmap. So whereas you may be delivering leading safe classes to the senior leadership, unfortunately, in the leading safe classes, you will find even the testers these days. I don't know how it got so much diluted, but the leading safe class was actually targeted towards the senior leadership so that we can get them aligned to the lean agile principles of SAFe, and then kind of have them issue the marching orders, so to speak, and align the entire organization around the common objective that they want all of them to achieve. And then, of course, you go through step by step by breaking it down into value stream workshops, and of course, all the other functions. You start with one art, but you of course go to other arts, and business functions start participating in. Yeah. So I am seeing some of the questions in there as well. I think one of the things that I would like to maybe have both of you go into maybe some more details, and I guess Vikas, you alluded to this earlier, that maybe if there is a way that you can share some of the stories from some of the customers that you have been working on, and how did you kind of encourage them to move towards business agility and not just take a piecemeal approach with the certifications?
Okay. So yeah, so I'll tell you that, right, with one of my clients actually, right, and when they have approached for agility, not a safe agility, right, an agility, right, and I said, yeah, let's start doing it, right. Okay. Maybe SAFe doesn't says that. The first thing which I had to do, I had to really create a mindset of an agility there, right? And we took around 3 to 4 months to create a mindset of an agility, where you are really running a lot of small workshops, basically, right? You have converted whole environment differently, right? Which means paint is different, right? There are different posters running through. People are seeing what are happening here, right? You have set up some environment. When you have set up environment, and as you said, Pranjal, they said, okay, training and certifications we need to do. First thing what we did, we spoke to L&D and we said, you know what? I wanted to really target trainings to target people actually, right? Leading safe is to excite people, to excite leadership, right? Now, leading safe, when you are giving a framework knowledge to that, you're not giving a framework knowledge, you are exciting them in terms of saying, are you coming with us? Do you really see this change what we need to do? And that's it. You have done that. When you have done that, then you target the POs and Scrum Masters, and you do that. That's part of a certification standpoint, right? But main thing is that this is where one aspect which is very important in some of my failed journeys of past is this: stakeholders, scrum masters, tech guys, product owner, they are okay, they are fine, they are getting some value out of it. What about these stakeholders? What about these business owners, right? What you are doing for them? Now these are those people who are tomorrow going to come and say this is not working, what you are doing is not working. So what you need to do, you need to excite them also well. And that's something, Pranjal, I am very particular about that. Last 5 days, I was working on a transformation journey of another organization, right? Smaller organization, not very big. And when I was writing, after retrospectives and all, which is very different style what we do, right? And I said, the first training is to leaders and then stakeholders, and then we will talk about the team. Why? Yeah. The people who will be most saying it that it is not going to work and not going to affect us, can I align that first? This is what I do. And I have a longer J curve in consulting organizations. Even in Indian top organizations, I am there from 2 years, right? So, I mean, that's good. J curve, everybody has. I have a little longer J curve with that.
And also for me, it is about bringing the clarity first, then thinking about the competency, right? So both have to be there. Both pillars have to be there. Competence, if you have, you have hired the people, so they should be the right people. So you assume with the intent of competence is already there. The clarity is something, you need to bring in the organization. Only, I think, again, ties back to the roadmap very well. If you need to really achieve that business agility, you have to start from some education. That education could be a certification. Education could be something else. It could be a foundation, safe foundation workshop to start with. Do I really, what is the value that I'm getting out of it? What is in it for me? Unless, you have that answered, I don't think, and also it's about the motivation for me to take a certification. What is that motivation? Is it the business value or is it the a line on a resume, right? So it matters a lot.
There are some questions, Pranjal, if you see. The
right.
question is, when a project manager given the responsibility of Scrum Master and even APMO role, most of organization making mistakes by mixing the responsibility, right? Ashwani, would you like to take, and then I will.
I think this is where I think, again, I'll tie back to what you just now said, right? The right people being there in the right trainings or the right certification, that matters a lot. So project manager, can he or she become a product owner, product manager? Why not? If they have the right attitude, right domain expertise and knowledge, but at the same time, are we looking at only the title or are we looking at the responsibility? Most of us, again, I tell this one in my class as well. Don't just look at the roles and say that they are the titles. It's not a hierarchy. It's not a title. It's the responsibility that you need to carry out in your organization. Agile Release Train needs a product manager. Doesn't mean that a product manager has, say, 10 product owners, and in turn, the product owner has 10 developers and who are reporting to each other. It doesn't mean that. You need to really understand and kind of put a clear boundary around. Title could be anything, but what is the responsibility? What is the role that I'm playing? I would go with that.
Yeah. So I think if I see this thing basically, right, and we were talking about org agility, a lot of transformation coaches, what you could do, right, and to apply safe, you could do an persona interviews. Now, what is persona interviews? Persona interviews is in terms of even this project manager. There is a strong possibility if it has a technical project manager, he might suit very well to a PO role. I can tell you that, right? And that happens for those organizations and those teams, right, who are very technical. And this guy is a technical project owner. From years, this guy was doing that onshore, offshore coordination of requirement tracing only, right? So this guy might be great from that standpoint. He might be suited there. So what I am giving you a technique which is called persona interviews, right? And I do a lot of persona interviews actually, right? And find, this guy is something who could be suiting here. This guy is something who could be suiting very good as a Scrum Master actually, right? Yeah. So that is something which helps in organizations to really align that role. Second thing, while you are doing a persona interview, after that, right, since Pranjal asked the practical aspects of transformations, right, you need to also make sure that these people know what is the expectation out of this role tomorrow and what is the career journey of that. Is this particular person is really excited to the career journey of a product owner to move to product manager? And I can tell you the last career journey of a product manager is entrepreneur. That's what it is actually, right? Yeah. Can you touch that, right? And do you feel that this is something what they can get out of it? That is probably right, really give them a right perspective actually. Right? I throw it to Pranjal. I don't know if he's there. If not, this is Ashwini.
No, yeah, I don't know. Something happened to my camera. So it just shows me the background and it's taken me out of it. But anyway, so I think I completely agree with that. And I usually, share this with people that sometimes people ask me the question that, can you recommend which training should I go to and which certification should I take? And I, of course, echo the same things that you've just mentioned. And one of the other things which I do mention is while the training and certification is really important, I think it's even more important to think about how do you intend to apply those learnings and in what environment? Like, what do you want to achieve by doing this? Do not think from the certification beyond. Think about the future first and have a future backward approach. Where do you want to apply this learning? What is it that you want to achieve? What are the business outcomes that you want to achieve? And how would you get there? Would a safe Scrum Master be the right approach? Do you see yourself helping the teams move forward and helping resolve the impediments? Or do you want to work closely with the customer and take the product management role or product owner role, and so on and so forth? And then see how do you build those capabilities in your organization? So of course, as much as I might want to be selfish that I want to progress in a career, we see that in the Indian enterprises, the organizations, more and more organizations, and I think most of the organizations that we saw speak today, so far, they have accepted, they have aligned HR, they have aligned their leadership to how these different roles are evolving, right? So it's very, very important, coming back to your point that you shared, that it's very important that it all starts from how the leaders understand, how, what is the end objective that I want to achieve, and how is it that I want my people to participate in that transformation journey? What is their role? Is HR going to be involved in helping them transform their career? Or is it just, that they do their own certification and just come back? And for that reason, over the last few months to maybe a year, and now even more so going forward, and you might be the first audience to hear this. So here it comes. SAFe is going to evolve more as an enterprise platform. And I don't think that should be a surprise because, we have already started seeing that, right? With all the different competencies and capabilities now built into the community platform, it is going to suit the enterprises more. And the people who just want to take a certification for the heck of it might not benefit that much from just taking the certification, right? So it's going to be an enterprise platform. It is already an enterprise platform. It's going to get bundled pretty soon, and it will be going live. With all the components which are now readily available. There is SAFe Collaborate, there is pre-learning on the community platform, there is measure and grow, business agility assessments. So all these things come together and best suited for helping an enterprise go forward. And then of course, people talk about pricing. I see there have been some questions around pricing, and I see another question about pricing in the chat as well. So again, don't think about SAFe certification as a B2C solution, right? This is not a B2C offering. This is a B2B offering. This is going to help you transform as an enterprise. And the enterprises, I don't know how many of us on this discussion over here have heard about SAFe Learners subscription. And that's the way, that's the model, that is the licensing model, which is best suited for the learning organizations, which also contribute towards creating learning organizations, the 7th core competency, as you see on the framework, where it drastically reduces the transformation cost, right? And I'm using that word very cautiously because again, it depends on how you utilize that. But it definitely optimizes your overall cost of transformation. And I can share more details with you in an offline discussion. I don't think we have time to go into more details over there, but just remember these words right now: SAFe Learners subscription can help optimize the overall cost of your transformation. And think about this: how about with the dollars that you now pay for your individual subscription or individual renewal, can you take as many number of certifications in the year as you might want? Do you just want to limit yourself to just leading safe and just being a scrum master? Don't you want to learn maybe more about portfolio management, or maybe about agile product management, or maybe about how DevOps is applied to the value stream? Of course you would want to do that. Of course you would want to see how that helps in helping you achieve business outcomes. So to that end, keep remembering this word, Safe Learner Subscription, or SLS, and how's that going to help? And we can definitely have an offline discussion on that one.
I'll just add, and I'll up Pranjal your thing. Safe Collaborate.
Yeah.
I'm the most used person who has used Safe Collaborate in Word at this moment, actually, right? From Black. Amazing tool, right? Amazing tool. I mean, we use Miro, Mural. I mean, Safe has such a tool called Safe Collaborate, where you can actually create your designs, and you can basically, this tool was mainly for market research, right? I had a lot of background of this tool actually, right? Which is now Safe. This is an amazing tool in terms of in current COVID situation actually, right? And I am using day in, day out, and having around 184 private canvases of mine, which I can use it right differently. So Safe Collaborate, SLS. I mean, SLS really, Pranjal, that's absolutely, I don't know why people don't understand what SLS is. Maybe as a consultant, you can sell your day and you can give a value to an organization. This is how I sell myself actually in our organization, right? Okay, I'm not going to take a lot of training money, but I'm going to take my high-end consulting money. That's good enough. That's good enough actually, right? So this is beautiful when it is overall tied up. Pranjal, I would really even still like to ask whether Safe Collaborate GT has happened or not, because I'm having a previous thing, right? And would you like to say now or later about that? Because that's for organization. That's not only for a team actually, right? That's also something for, business. That is very much for business. That is very much for portfolio, right? And I'm very much sure lot of trainings and lot of different workshops will be using Safe Collaborate in future actually.
Yeah. Right. No, absolutely. I think the Safe Collaborate part, which is there's an offering document that we're putting together. Hopefully that should be available in the public domain very soon. But Collaborate is the third component of it. The first two being around empowering knowledge and empowering training. The trained teams just run faster, right? So there's a lot of such material which is now available on Getting Started. Even before you take a course, now there's a pre-rostering which happens, which actually gives you access to the pre-courseware content, so that even before getting into the class, you have access to the Agile basics and Safe basics, so that you are aligned to those principles even before you get into the workshop, right? So Collaborate is definitely available. It's available for use. There's still some restrictions on the guest passes with us, and that will be taken off pretty soon. And that restriction actually does not exist for the SLS customers, right? So SLS customers can use it all the way that they would want it. But the others, non-SLS customers, they still have the restriction. Hopefully that restriction would go away soon. And then of course, what you also get along with the SLS is the capability to get the health assessments done, either by you yourself as a consultant, as an external consultant, internal consultant, or even Scaled Agile can help you do that, right? So health assessments, which is really important. And then, the most important part, which has now been introduced and been talked about a lot, is the measure and grow. Can I create the benchmark and continuously measure my progress on maturing my competencies? And then what are the grows that I need to work on? So all these 5 components come together and kind of do the Safe for enterprises. You heard this page for the first time. Nobody has talked about it yet. It's still work in progress. So yeah, don't quote me on that one. It's still work in progress.
And also, Pranjal, I want to connect back to one of the webinars you had. Most of us in the Safe world, right? SA, SPC, whatever course you have taken, you don't use the community platform well. There are a wealth of videos, tons of videos, 400 plus, I think as of now, and growing, articles, and the community platform. I mean, I saw that yesterday. I mean, we were teaching an SPC class and we were telling the team, the community platform. SPC community has 14,000 registered users on the platform. SA is touching 100,000 in a while. So use the wealth of knowledge there. And actually, if you scroll down some of the discussions, they're amazing ones. People help each other so much, we don't use them. So for that $100 that you are renewing, you are getting 100,000 people who are helping you. What else do you need? If you can use it effectively.
No, absolutely. I think there was a question, similar question in the open space as well, and I ran out of time, but I was, kind of getting tempted to ask the gentleman the question that, out of all the hundreds of videos which are available, which you actually end up paying for every year as a renewal fee, how many of those videos have you actually seen? And most of these videos are anyway available for free on the Vimeo channel. I don't know how many of us know that there is a Vimeo channel which has 149 videos just talking about customer stories. Like, these are customer videos of 1 hour each. And these are just available at no charge. And apart from that, there are so many of the enablement videos which are available on the community platform. And if you're a partner, you get additional tons of videos. So there's so much of resources available. I don't know. I ran a survey on one of the webinars, and I found that not more than 50% of the people had actually logged into the community platform more than once a month. And you're missing out. I don't want to say anything more than that, but you're missing out. Like, you're paying for something, and there are going to be some pricing changes. There is going to be a tier of membership. Like, you don't have to be certified. You can just still be a member, and you will pay for that membership, and you will have access to all these resources. This is knowledge. This is gold mine. Use that. You don't have to, go around asking your friends. Go ahead and use that. Learn it. Use time wisely in consuming those resources. And that's going to help you progress further. It's for your, and I'll say, I will maybe hand it over to both of you with the last comment. Community platform is gold. If you're not using it, you're not, like, it's like, you have your money lying in your savings account. You're not investing it, right? So don't be that guy who has all his money lying in his savings account, which gets 3%, 3.5% interest. Invest it wisely. It's for your own professional development, right? It is a platform for your professional development. There's wealth of knowledge over there. Go ahead and use that, contribute to the knowledge, participate in COPs, and help your enterprise transform. Play a larger role over there.
I'll add, Pranjal, on that, right? This is absolutely, I'm part of a content SME, right? In the prior one of an exam, and I worked, and I know how much effort is being basically done by Scaled Agile towards that, right? On the APM side, I was there last year, right? So one of my close friend, and he was basically, just moving off from an SPC cert over. And he said, should I pay for basically extend? I said, that would be really great if you pay. Don't worry about cert, worry about, the additional content you will get, right? So that's one thing. And secondly, right, my just closing note is, thank you very much for listening to all this. Look for organization, other aspects, right? Apart from tech, bring business closer to tech. When you start doing it, when it start happening, agility will automatically come, actually, right? With that, I close it and I give it to Ashwini to close.
Yeah, I think you both have kind of summarized and closed it. If I do say some more words, it will open another can of worms. So let's stop it here. And thanks a lot for everyone. And you always have an access to us through LinkedIn, maybe, to connect to us and ask questions, queries.